All
Oh,
right.
gee. Okay, we wanted to remember that, and we hosted, oh my goodness. We posted the recording of the last meeting on the Keepers website. So if people want to see what happened last time and look at all our beautiful faces and hear the news and everything, we're gonna keep doing that, making sure that we post that. So that is everybody, right?
Yes, that's everybody.
We're getting some feedback. I don't know who that is.
That will, Pam, can you mute your mic?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, sounded like the wind.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what we were getting, so it's really nice to meet everybody. And it's nice to have not old, but you know what I mean, familiar faces and then new faces all the time. That's really wonderful. That means we're doing a good job for this group. So I think what we want to do is let Jose go right into his talk. You know, I know this has been an issue for us for a long time. You know, finding drug paraphernalia in the park. It's certainly gotten worse in the last few years. You know, as folks have been kicked out of Kensington and moved around and everything, we've seen the problem sort of move north. So I know individuals see this, and I know that we also, you know, we see this during cleanups. I don't know, I think Siani invited Jose, so I don't know if you want to add anything, Siani?
No, not really too much. I just really wanted to, you know, have a chance for everyone to just know the safe practices for just, you know, when it comes to interacting with needles. I know, you know, there's the danger of that, if the potential of getting pricked, and, you know, you don't know what you could possibly catch from that. So just wanted to keep people safe, know what to do, not only to protect themselves, but sanitation workers as well, you know, not to just stick it in the trash just on its own. I participated before, like cleanups with like prevention points, so I kind of knew the practices on what to do, but I want to just make sure that everyone has that knowledge as we continue to see this a bit in the park. So Jose, I really appreciate you, you know, getting back to me and taking the time tonight to present for us.
No, really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you for reaching out and having me. Unfortunately, I don't have any slides with me today. I want to apologize about that, but I can talk a little bit about essentially some of the safe practices that you typically want to do when you're dealing with syringes. I guess the question to first start asking is, how many syringes are you guys seeing in the park? And what specific locations are you seeing the syringes in? Are you seeing them more like, you know, playground area? And I'm not too familiar with Tacony Park, so I do apologize about that. But are you finding them more in the trash cans? Are you finding them more in areas where there's more level of like family activity? And if so, like, is it something that, you know, is becoming overwhelming? And then how many are you collecting? That'll give me a little bit, sorry about that, a better sense of like what other resources I can maybe push your way or help you guys with after this conversation.
I mean, I can respond to that. I don't know how much you know about the park. So, you know, it's a 300-acre park. It's very linear. So it runs from Longcrest through, you know, it's Longcrest, Olney, Feltonville, Juniata Park, and Frankfurt. So those are the neighborhoods it runs through. It's a narrow, you know, a narrow linear park with a trail running through it. It's one of our watershed parks. I think, I mean, and I'm happy to have people jump in. I think there aren't a lot of playgrounds that are near the park. We only have a couple. I think we would like to have more, but I think most of the syringes that we see are in areas where it looks like people have been camping out. And then in some areas, you know, there are some benches, I think, that where we started to see people hanging out quite a bit and seen this stuff at those locations. Does anybody have any other?
Yeah, I guess I would like chime in to say definitely, I mean, my main experiences with like the Ramona Gateway, like the section on I and Ramona Street in Juniata Park. So, you know, that section in particular, like you mentioned with like the benches or really the entrance ways where people can kind of just sit and chill at. That's where I kind of come across some syringes or like the strip of like the parcel of land adjacent to that. It's not like, I would say like a overwhelming amount, but you're starting to see like, okay, like every other cleanup, I'm probably getting maybe 2 or 3 syringes. So that's, and that's just what's at least visible to me. So I haven't seen like, you know, what maybe deeper into the trail maybe, but I just know like in terms of like cleanups at the gateway, has been a particular issue.
Okay, yeah, thanks for, does anyone else have anything they want to add to that before I just kind of jump in? Yeah, I mean, that's a concern anytime you're seeing whether it's 2 or 3 or 4. I mean, it's always a concern when you're seeing these types of, you know, or you're having these kind of encounters with drug paraphernalia, especially syringes, right? But I just want to say essentially, and this is something that I think that still exists much in, you know, in all different communities, that when they think about syringes, right, there's this conception that exists that if you get poked by a syringe, you'll get HIV and you'll get Hep C. And that's true. I mean, there's a possibility of that happening, but the margins of someone getting HIV from a prick, you know, from a syringe are like 0.001% or something like that, a very small margin. You're more likely to get Hep C from a prick as opposed to HIV. And, you know, there is medication for Hep C treatment. So, but if you did get poked, essentially, the first thing you do, essentially, you have to go to ER, which it would put you on PEP, which is a pre-exposure prophylaxis medication for exposure to HIV, which you would have to take for approximately 30 days or so. But you know, if you're seeing just 2 or 3, I would say, I mean, there's a possibility that you can add a needle box, and we have those. And if you guys are interested, we can provide you with a needle box so you guys can run a pilot to see whether or not it's being used, whether or not it's something that the residents in the community want. What we have seen with some of the needle boxes, so we have essentially 16 needle boxes, which are the bigger boxes that we have throughout Kensington. And those who approximately 1,500 to 1,600 syringes. I don't think you guys will ever reach that level of volume of syringes. So I don't think that's really a resource that you guys would need. We do have smaller boxes that we've used, for instance, at SEPTA stations. We've used at, you know, the Kensington Co-op, which hold approximately 250 to 245 syringes, the case itself. And what we've seen with those boxes, with smaller boxes, that it's not so much people who are homeless and people who have a substance use disorder who are using the boxes. It's really people in the community who also might have to dispose of syringes for medical purposes. You know, you have people who essentially use insulin. There is a way of, you know, disposing your syringes in a safe manner that doesn't include you taking them to the pharmacy to dispose of them in your own home. But what we've seen is like some of these boxes have been very welcomed by the community because you have some members within that space that are using it for disposing of their syringes. So we can give you a box, you can run a pilot to see how it works out, whether or not the community would accept it or not accept it. You know, and essentially with that, you would just have to build awareness around the needle box and make sure that people are aware that the needle box is there. If there are people inside the park who are sleeping or using the park for different reasons, and they're using or they're consuming in the public, making it aware to them that essentially the needle box is there, but also maybe putting up signage to indicate where the needle box might be located. You guys are a little bit more aware of where this might be more useful. So if you're interested, I could definitely bring that needle box out, install it for you guys, and then give you keys to the needle box and give you guys aligners. And you can run the pilot for maybe like 3 months or so, you know, or maybe just during the summertime to see whether or not that helps improve some of the things that you guys are seeing. If that's not something that you guys are interested in, you know, typically when you're doing cleanups, you want to make sure you have the proper tools to dispose of the syringes. You want to make sure you have grabbers, needle boxes. The needle boxes are relatively inexpensive, but if you guys need some of those, we have those as well that we can provide to you guys. I have those in abundance, so feel free to reach out.
We actually just purchased some containers.
Fantastic.
You know, we do a lot of cleanups, and Siani had raised this, and we just, you know, ordered a bunch of them so that when we go out, we have these with us along with trash baggers and trash bags and gloves. And it just seemed like a good thing to add to the supplies that we bring.
No, absolutely. I definitely agree with that. I mean, in dealing with any area that is exposed to syringes, I would also recommend, I can send you guys a link to this. Well, we actually use these gloves that are puncture proof for needles, essentially. And those are also good to use in these circumstances because, you know, like I said, you might be reaching in for a bag and not expect to get poked by a syringe. That's something also to consider is that if these areas where you're seeing syringes, there's a possibility that people are not disposing in the public, they are disposing inside the trash cans. We have seen that time and again. We've had actually 2 incidents last month where 2 of our staff were poked by syringes, actually just taking the liners off the trash cans.
Yeah.
And we always treat every trash can we encounter. Right, like I said, given the circumstances here are very different from, you know, Tacony Park. Kensington is inundated in many different areas with syringes. But if you're seeing syringes in an area, you know, always treat it, if there's a trash can nearby that there might be syringes in there. So we typically, what we do is we tend to empty out the bag and go through the trash just to make sure there's no syringes inside. I'd be willing to come out and do, if you guys are having a cleanup, I could definitely come out with my team, which is Project Reach, and we could definitely teach you some of these techniques, in real time, I would say, physically. So I think that, there's a lot of slides I can show you. There's a lot of things I can tell you how to do, but I think in these circumstances, applying them right there and then and learning them is a little bit more easier, at least from my experience with people that we taught how to properly pick up syringes, dispose of them. So I'd be glad to come out your next cleanup whenever you guys have it, to definitely have that conversation in person with you, any residents in the area that would be interested in having that conversation.
Okay.
But essentially, I'm sorry, someone had a question?
No, I think I think that's a great idea to get people
Yeah.
trained. And I think we will keep the box idea in mind. Alex did a big cleanup. I mean, we do this, we do a weekly cleanup and then we do a once a month cleanup. And then there are people in this
Yeah.
group that do their own stuff. So they're happening all the time. But Alex, yesterday when you were was that yesterday? That was yesterday at Whitaker and Loudon. Alex was out with Power Core and picked up, like almost 40 bags of trash. Did you see syringes there?
No, not Whitaker, but it's more so when you walk into the trails, more so in secluded areas.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think we have people living in the park.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the issue we've been having.
Yeah, I mean, and like, when you're having these cleanups, like I said, make sure there's a sharps container available. Make sure that you do check in with everyone that essentially is on site, and make sure they're still, because we tend to sit here and when we become comfortable with these kinds of like practices, we tend to sit here and put our guard down. And in many instances, that's when we see a lot of people get hurt or get pricked by a syringe when they become too comfortable. And I always tell people, treat if you're comfortable picking up syringe, treat it like it's the first time you've done it every time and again. Because like I said, you can be picking up syringe, someone could bump into you and accidentally prick yourself, or if there's someone in front of you, it can happen. But just make sure that there's a sharp container available at all times. If you don't have a sharps container, there are essentially just what are they called? Laundry detergent containers. Essentially are thick plastic. So a lot of times people, what they do is they put them inside a water bottle. Water bottle plastic is so thin that the syringes pierce right through it. So you want to have a thick plastic. There's different products, refreshment products that actually sell thick plastic that could be used, and I could send you that information as well. That under many circumstances you can use disposable syringes, but you never want to use any circumstances a thin plastic to dispose of syringes. They're just going to go right through. And essentially, like I said, all these things, I wish that I was, like I said, I've done this in slides, and I always have people who always reach out and say, listen, like, how do you do this again? How do you do that? And what we've done going forward is when we have these conversations with different civics or different groups, we will come out and do a training and stay with them to make sure that if they have any questions, we're there to answer them. Because like I said, I can show you a bunch of slides, I can show you what to do, but me being there to show you is more, it's easier to do it that way, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But that day when I come out, whenever you guys invite me, I can bring the needle box with me as well, the smaller unit. So you guys can get a look for it, get a feel for it. And then, like I said, I can leave it with you guys or install it that same day. You guys can run it. I'm running by the constituents in an area, whether or not they want something like this available. I
Right,
can assure you that the idea behind needle boxes is that if you put a needle box up, people will come, right? You'll have people coming and you crowds of people are going to come to the needle box. And quite frankly, we have not seen that in Kensington. You know, if the problem already exists, all we're doing is putting a resource there so people can use it. So we're not seeing these syringes out in the community. And our boxes are very effective. I mean, we picked up our larger needle boxes last year picked 66,000 syringes. Our smaller boxes picked close to about maybe 6,000 syringes, 7,000 syringes. So they're very effective at making sure that, you know, you have a resources available in real time for people to use. But I can understand that there's a lot of concern when you put something up like this, that, you know, you're inviting people to come down and camp out and have more accessibility around the box because it's there and they can use it. But I can tell you for certain that a lot of people tend to carry sharp containers with them who are homeless and have a substance use disorder. So a lot of times they have their own container, they don't need it. But there's those few people who don't have access to it, who essentially would benefit from having that box there. But also, like I said, there's also an amount of, you know, people who don't dispose of syringes inside, I mean, at a pharmacy and, you know, chuck it, or some people still flush it down the toilet. Some people still throw it in the trash without putting it in the proper container and labeling it. So there's a lot of things that I can show you guys, and I think that it would be more worthwhile doing it in person so that you know, you guys could start applying these as you start doing your cleanups, or maybe pass that information on to other people that, you know, might need it as well.
I think that's great. I mean, we have a cleanup, we have a big cleanup scheduled for June 12th. That's a Saturday.
Yep.
That's
could
on
be
the
there.
that's on the schedule. And then that's our monthly Saturday. And then if you know, if Siani or anybody else wants to do something more local, we could do that too. We do weekday cleanups on, you know, we do a cleanup every Wednesday as well. Those are smaller. So it depends what people want to do. And, you know, I would like to maybe pay more attention as we're out on the trail this summer. We're going to have, the good news is that we are going to have a seasonal maintenance person. We've never had that for Parks and Rec. And they are going to, so that's really great. So, and Alex will be out on the trail more. We have somebody else will be out on the trail. So I think before we, you know, I think we should keep an eye out, because I think it would be, you know, I know that there are areas where we've seen more use. And if we can put something along the trail someplace that that just makes it easier for people to put this stuff in a box than to leave it next to a park bench, that seems like a positive thing.
Yeah, and if you guys are doing, I know you guys are doing the big cleaning in June 12th, right? I mean, if you guys will have me, I will definitely come with my team and help you guys do the cleanup, but also train all you guys on how to properly dispose of syringes. But if you guys have like little groups that you're doing throughout the week and you have different faces who might need to be trained, just reach out. I'm willing to come down, or I'm willing to send down one of my field staff to definitely do the training for you guys as well. So as many trainings that needs to be done, I'll be here to help out as much as you guys need me. And,
Thank you. That's great.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, I thought about bringing the slides, and I just, like I know in the past it's always been like I do the slides and people are calling, hey, can you come back and like review the slides for me? And we started just being in person doing these trainings, almost like we do our Narcan trainings. Like I prefer doing Narcan trainings also in person, because we're able to, you know, relay the information in a way that people understand it better. At least my experiences.
In person is always better.
I know with COVID it makes it a little more difficult, but you know, we can social distance and do it that way.
Right. And this group's, you know, this group started meeting online. I don't remember when, but it's been really, we've had great meetings online because it's easier and more convenient for people.
No, absolutely.
Bethany was folding laundry and now she's walking. But these, you know, these guys are out on the trail all the time too, so we get to see that. So I think Alex will follow up with you about June 12th, And
Yeah, definitely.
that's actually, we got contacted by, so that's like our second Saturday cleanup. We got contacted by a group about coming out with a big group and helping us. So we are gonna have them come on that Saturday and then try to add to that. So that happens to us a lot, but it sounds like this group does a lot of cleanups. What's the name of the group, Alex?
It's a nonprofit organization, like a non-profit music group.
It's a music.
Yeah, it's like a music nonprofit group.
So if it sounds like they do cleanups all the time.
Hmm.
So maybe it would be good to, because, you know, they don't just come to Tacony Creek Park, they go to other places. So I would think they would be interested in being trained too.
No, definitely. I mean, the more the merrier. You know, the more people that want to get trained, the better for us. I mean, I think it's something that, giving what we're seeing in Kensington and Philadelphia, it's something that we all should learn how to do, because it's everywhere. It's just not in Kensington. It's
Right.
spreading. You see it in West Philly, Northeast. You see it everywhere. So it's something that we all should learn how to do and also be aware of. And like I said, I always advocate for the needle box, but I know that there's a lot of questions and concerns among residents because of it. And
Right.
I think especially in parks, that's typically where we see a lot of people at times find, comfort, because it's away from, like, the noise. And it seems like this park essentially does provide some of, like, that comfort level for people to be away from some of the things happening. So if that is happening and it's going to happen, I think that putting down some resources in this park to deal with this, if it flares up, would benefit the community as a whole.
Right. And yeah, I mean, we've tried, this park has been very neglected, and has really started to turn around, mostly because of the work of the people on this call. And it's, we want people to have positive attitudes about it.
Yeah.
But we also want to be realistic, too. So it's always that sort of fine line there.
No, absolutely.
Does anybody have questions for Jose?
No? Alrighty. Well, thank you, Jose, for the training. I could definitely follow up with you. If you don't mind, can you put your contact information in the chat?
I'm gonna do that right now.
Awesome. Thank you.
And thank you, Siani.
Yes, thank you,
Siani she's amazing.
So I'm gonna actually jump off because I have another meeting after 10. I do apologize. But I'm gonna put my information in the chat. Feel free to let me know when you guys want me to come out and do this cleanup with you guys. And, like, going forward, if you do need any resources, anything I can do to help out, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Awesome.
We partner with anyone, come out to help anyone and train anyone that needs this kind of training.
Awesome.
All right, guys?
All right.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, no, thanks a lot. Thanks for your work.
No problem.
Okay.
That was very informative.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, we should be realistic about the stuff we're seeing in the park. We want to keep people safe.
Mhm.
I actually had a needle prick about 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, not even in Tacony Creek Park. I was cleaning up in my neighborhood in Northern Liberties, near where I live. And I ended up at the emergency room and did the prep for 28 days. So it was pretty intense, but it was really good to have that medication available, because honestly, I didn't know, you don't know. And I talked to my primary care physician and I said, what should I, what do you recommend? And he said, oh, I would 1,000,000% do this, do this. So, so now I'm done and I feel much better. But we don't want to get that far. I was careless,
What you got? You did get in touch with Judy?
What?
Hello?
Hi.
Yeah, did you get? I wanted to ask what you just mentioned about when you had to go to the hospital. You came in contact with a needle.
Yes.
Oh boy, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine. I went to the emergency room at Jefferson and they were amazing. And prescribed what I left there with a prescription. And they did blood work before I left. And then I'm supposed to go and do blood work after because, you know, just to see, I think the prep can have some impact on kidney function. But, you know, it was 28 days of 3 really big pills. And I definitely felt them. You know, it's strong stuff. But I feel fine now. And I need to go back to my primary care and just get checked out. But, you know, being able to do that is really kind of amazing, and not having to really worry was good.
Yeah, thank God that you're okay. Really do. Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pam. I am okay. I'm a dope, but I'm okay.
Well, I haven't seen many needles on the ground, but I have experienced on the L train.
Oh,
Because I usually take the Broadsea subway, but a few times, about a month ago, I had to take the L train, and it was quite different when I got on because even before I got on the train, I saw one person sticking a needle in his arm, and I'm at Margaret and Orthodox, and so that was surprising. And then when I was on the train, I saw at different stops, I saw drug people sitting on the benches, and they were like nodding, and it's something I had never seen before. And it was just different because it seemed like SEPTA was letting things go downhill because there are a lot of people smoking and doing the drugs on the train. And I had to go through so many trains just to find one that I could sit on. And so that's different. You know, that was different for me, but I think they're trying to clean it up now because they're not letting it go downhill. For some reason they were just letting it go downhill, but they seem to be doing more cleanups now on the train.
that's a shame, Pam.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I know it's pretty hard to see that stuff.
it's sad. It's really sad. All right. Well, we do have an agenda, which I'm trying to find. And I think we thought that after this really uplifting conversation, we would try to talk about some positive things. Can you share the agenda, Alex?
Yes, I can actually. Just a moment.
I had it and then I lost it.
I can share my screen. Boom.
There
Can
it
everyone see?
is. So we thought that we would take some time, because this is a nice way to get to know each other too, is to talk about, I know we see some crazy stuff in Philadelphia and in the park and in the world, but we thought it would be really nice to talk about some positive things, our favorite thing that we saw in the park recently. And I have a few, so I'm gonna not go first, but I think this is fun because I know, you know, everybody sees really amazing stuff, amazing nature in the park. So we thought this was a good chance to talk about this and to be positive about how beautiful the park is. So I'm going to pick on Pete because I know Pete sees a lot of great stuff when he's in the park.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of good birding the last month and a half. It's starting to get harder with the trees, you know, with all the leaves, but you can still hear a lot of good stuff. I mean, you can go out on a early morning and just, you know, frankly, take like a lawn chair several places in the park and just set it up and hear a concert. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, seeing, you know, just around this time, seeing hawks and a lot of warblers and things we were able to see, and tanagers and things of that nature. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff.
Wow. I don't know if I've ever seen a tanager. That's pretty great.
Yeah.
That's pretty great. And everybody knows that we do regular free bird walks. And the last one was done by the Delaware Valley Ornithological Society. I think that was a couple of Saturdays ago, and he had a nice turnout. He had about 12 people that came out. And we're going to do bird walks as part of block parties. Definitely. So Those are always fun, and we're always looking for leaders. So if you guys know any bird experts, it's always, we always like to have all different kinds of people lead those. So Pete, will you pick on somebody else? Oh, let me unmute. You're still muted. Whoops. All right, let's pick on somebody else. I don't know what's going on. Sounds like he's
Yeah,
talking to
keep it, I'm
somebody.
done.
Oh, there he is. He back?
Multitasking.
Ah,
Okay.
Still trying to finish work. So you know how that goes. Let's see. So what is Siani seen down at Iron Ramona lately?
Listen, I was ready for this. So
Yeah, right.
it wasn't like so I was actually walking on the Wyoming like Wyoming Ave like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. And my dad and I like on like the trail like really close, we saw like a family of deer. Like kind of like where the trail kind of meets like the golf course. So they were like just, you know, chilling over there. And then going down the paved path was a fox, and I was so excited because it was my first time seeing an actual fox, and I was trying to take a picture of it, and my dad was like, oh, it's a fox, and accidentally scared it, and then it scared me. It was just chilling, just walking down. So I just got a very blurry photo of Swiper, so I hope to get a good photo of a fox eventually. So I was very excited to check that off. And not so much in the trail, but my friend lives in Elkins Park, and they have a bird feeder. So there was a woodpecker, and I was able to use the bird guide to correctly identify it as a red-bellied woodpecker. So I'm retaining information from these bird walks.
all right.
And then I guess I'll check and see what Tom has been seeing in the trail, because I know I've been missing out on a few walks, but I'm hoping to get back on that.
Thanks so much, Siani, and we have missed you on the walks this last week or two. But one of the coolest things I saw, I think you may have been there for, and that was the bald eagle, which I was lucky enough to see twice in the same day.
Wow.
Before we went on the official walk, I was walking our dog in the woods behind our house by Tabor and Alney, and there was a majestic, beautiful adult bald eagle just perched on one of the branches right behind our houses. And I was awestruck, and was then bragging about the sighting to our walking group. And about maybe 500 feet later, as we were approaching the south side of the Roosevelt Boulevard, one of the walk attendees pointed up, and sure enough, there was our bald eagle flying over the creek. So that kind of takes the cake for me the last couple of weeks. I'd be happy to pass it off to Bethany. Sorry for interrupting the dishes.
No, not at all. I have also had the pleasure of getting to see the bald eagle once last year, and then once just about a month ago at the very end of our walking group. So that was just so fun. That's a fun treat for sure. I love seeing just people out, like really using the trail, just dads teaching their kids how to, ride a two-wheel bike, and moms, pushing their stroller, and, grandparents, just hanging out with their grandkids, and just seeing people out really enjoying it. That's been so cool. And then 2 Saturdays ago, my son's a part of the Students Run Philly Style group, and we did a 10K in the park. So from Iron Ramona to Cheltenham to back to Iron Ramona was about a 10K. And so that was just fun. He joins up with the group at Edison, which when we lived in Kensington, that was our running spot, just to run up to Edison track and do a couple miles and run home. And so now that we've moved over here, Tacony Creek is our walking and jogging place. So it was kind of fun that Edison and Tacony Creek were like coming together, and some of the running group from Tacony Creek joined up with our Students Run Philly Style group. So it was just kind of a fun convergence of like all these different, people from different places. And it makes me happy just to see, kids from Edison High School, enjoying nature, and stuff like that. So we had a really great time, and the wraiths decorated the path really nicely for us with some sidewalk chalk, and so they're very artistic. So we had some beautiful little sidewalk murals from them, if you guys saw any of those. So I was really glad for the rain last night, but my first thought was like, oh, our sidewalk murals are gone, because it was just, we had a dry spell there for a while, so they lasted for like a week and a half. So but that was a fun memory too. And I'll pass it off to Alex.
All right. Mostly when I've been on that trip, I'm trying to focus on like projects and things like that, but mostly just seeing trash. So I mean, I was at Friends Hospital with Susan Harris a couple weeks back, and while we're scoping out the projects for Friends Hospital at Scattergood, we had like a group of deer just run at us, and I don't know if they saw us exactly, but they just ran at us, and then Susan screamed. I looked back, and then I screamed. I'm like, because like deers are really strong. When they hit vehicles, they break the vehicle. So,
Right.
I won't say that was something interesting to see, like, because they're charging at you, and you can feel the vibration of their
Wow.
yeah. So it was pretty cool. I mean, but what else? Oh, I saw a snapping turtle at Friends Hospital's pond. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. I'm gonna pass it off to Jenna.
Hey, Jenna.
Hello. Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Sorry,
Yes.
I'm in the car. I was stuck in traffic. Sorry about being late, but
Okay. Will you introduce yourself?
yeah, my name is Jenna Song. I am teaching yoga at the Tacony Creek Park every week, every Saturdays at
Okay.
11 a.m. So if anybody wants to come out, feel free to join me this week and in the future as well. And I haven't been on any bird walks yet, but I plan on attending some in the future.
Okay. Now you have to pick somebody else to talk, Jenna.
Oh, okay. Who hasn't gone yet?
Pam.
Okay, we'll do Pam then.
Okay. I was on a bird walk a few weeks ago with Dorian, and we left at the Whitaker Gateway, and we were seeing as we were going down the trail, we noticed that there was a large eagle on one of the poles high up. We saw an eagle, so that's exciting. And as we were walking, we saw a fox go by, like in front of us, just going by, and we got excited to see. That was my first time seeing a fox, and they're so beautiful to see. And then we saw him come back and go the opposite direction, so that was exciting. And the other thing I saw, because this is a different time when I was going through the park, I heard a lot of geese making sounds. So when I got up to the area where they were in the water, they were just like playing in the water, like bathing and falling in and out of the water. You could see their feet going up and down, and they were just playing and having fun. I've never seen anything like that. So that was exciting. So that's my experience.
Pam, you went on the walk with Holger?
With Holger, you said?
Yes.
Well, this was about maybe 2 weeks ago. I was with Dorian,
Oh,
and on a Saturday.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep a track. Who do you think should go next? We have a few people that haven't gone. Betty, Fiona, Johanna.
Joanna? Yeah.
Hey everybody. I'm kind of new to, I used to walk the trail when I was younger. Ever since I've kind of moved back, I think Love Your Park was like probably one out of the few times I went back to the trail. I think I'm just kind of afraid of really walking it on my own. So I would
Okay.
love to know more about like the bird walks and like just going in groups and stuff, because I do like going out there and walking in nature. I think it's just that there's a little fear of just being on my own because it is a pretty large area, and I don't know. I guess our area is just kind of like iffy for me. But I did like what I learned. I love your park. I was working with the gardens, so I learned how to mulch and weed and stuff, and it actually got me motivated to like renovate my entire backyard. So now I got a little garden.
Okay.
And when I would drive by there, I see the little garden, and I'm like, oh, I helped do that. But yeah. And Betty, I don't think you went yet.
Hello, everybody. Well, I haven't been on no bird watch, so I did notice last Monday when Bethany and I were out walking that I did see a blue heron. I believe it was a blue heron, but other than that, that was it.
No, that's a pretty big thing to see.
Yes, until it went to the trees, and I was pointing to everybody, look,
Oh,
look,
yeah,
look, but it
yeah.
went in the trees, so no one got to see it but me. So,
So ironic. It's huge, but it disappears.
yes, it is. It is. Okay, so who hasn't been?
I think Fiona.
Me.
Fiona?
Hi.
Okay, your turn.
So I haven't been on the lower part of the Tacony Creek, but I've been up further in Cheltenham, and I like to kind of look at the native plants and stuff that are growing, and see them flowering before the trees come in. So I was up there maybe 2 weeks ago, and that was really nice. So to see that, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go. I feel like Bethany, which is funny because everybody at TTF, we have a lot of real nature nerds. And I'm the one who always focuses on the people. And I get really excited when I see people on the trail, because I remember when we didn't see very many people on the trail. So seeing kids learning how to ride two-wheelers and people walking with their boyfriend or girlfriend or their grandchildren, or I mean, it's really, really wonderful. One thing I just wanted to mention, so the fox, I did get to see the fox. I got to see foxes at their den, which is between Rising Sun and Tabor. If you're going north, it's on the right side. And Dorian and I were just walking along. I don't even remember when it was. And there was a man and a woman that were pointing, and I was worried because it looked like they were pointing at something terrible, and it wasn't something terrible. It was these little foxes going in and out of their den. And you guys all know that we have a pretty active Flickr page. So if you don't, you should go look, because Dorian and Ryan, who's also on our staff, take really incredible pictures. So Dorian did get she has a really good camera. She did get really good pictures of that fox. And we try to post nature in Tacony Creek Park so everybody can go and enjoy those pictures. I also, around that same time, I just have to say this, is I saw a family that were bringing, they had a box with big bunny rabbits, like huge rabbits. And they were bringing them to the park. And I said, there was a husband and wife and his two daughters. And we had a little bit of a language challenge. I think they were Mexican. And I was really confused about what they were doing. And then we figured it out together, and they were bringing their bunnies back to nature. And I convinced them not to do that, because these look like the slowest, not the smartest bunnies in the world, who have lived in their home and then in a farm before that. And I said, listen, these bunnies are not gonna last long. There are hawks, there are eagles. So we came up with I found a few places online for them to go take the bunnies, because I would have been heartbroken, and we would have seen those bunnies the next day. not alive. So it was interesting. I mean, we know people dump stuff, you know, people take, I don't know, we see carp, we see goldfish in the creek that, you know, somebody had at home and dumped in there, but the bunnies were too beautiful and they were carrying them like babies. It was really funny. This was fun. It's really good to hear from people. You know, I mean, I feel like, you know, we all share this, which is that it's such a special place and you see really surprising nature things that just make you feel so much, you know, so much better. And Betty, I think seeing a great blue heron is amazing. You know, it's amazing because they're so huge and then they disappear in about 2 minutes. But that always feels like, you know, like it was such a, like it was, you know, you were blessed for that moment to see the great blue heron there. Okay, so I think we have some other stuff to talk about. We have a lot of updates for you about things. So I'm gonna run through those and then people should ask questions and, you know, talk about some ideas that we might have, but we've been pretty busy. The master planning process, you know, at Love Your Park, we did have folks from Natural Lands, which is our consultant, our partner. Who was talking about Natural Lands? Fiona, I think. So Natural Lands is an organization that owns a lot of property and takes care of that property. They have preserves all over the place, but they also help communities take care of their park system, and they help preserve and conserve property. So this is complex, but they, you know, Friends Hospital has a 50-acre easement, which means that it's protected. Friends Hospital can't sell that land and develop it. And Natural Lands is the organization that holds that easement. So they're in charge of making sure that Friends Hospital is taking care of that property. We've worked with Natural Lands on a bunch of things in our upstream communities, in, you know, like Abington and Cheltenham and Jenkintown. And they are very familiar with the park. They worked on a study from the 90s that's actually called the Nell Reap study. It was a study that Fairmount Park Conservancy paid for. That's a really long acronym. Fairmount Park Conservancy paid for it, and the Academy of Natural Science was involved, and Natural Lands was involved, and they actually made some recommendations that included preserving the Friends Hospital property. So they've been involved with Tacony Creek Park for a long time. They've been doing more stuff in the city. They just finished a master plan process in Coatesville. So we are really excited about working with them. And they were, you know, we wrote the proposal to the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources with them for the $100,000 match. And then we went with them to the William Penn Foundation to get the other, you know, these things are a 50-50 match. So it was a lot of money to raise. And because they are they have such credibility and the William Penn Foundation thinks they're great, they were able to work with us to get the match money. So they've started doing work. They're really, you know, they have a recreation specialist and landscape architects and all those kind of people. And the first thing that we're doing is forming an advisory committee. And Susan emailed some folks to see who was interested in joining. You know, we want that to be a broad committee that really represents the community. And a lot of, you know, make sure we have a lot of different, have input from people about that. They'll meet quarterly. So that's being formed. So if anybody is interested, I know Susan emailed a few people in this group. If anyone else is interested, we would love to have, you know, email Susan and let her know you would like to represent the Friends on that committee. We want to make sure the Friends group has its representatives. And then, you know, there'll be representatives from the two council women's offices, and from a bunch of our other partners like the Alney Culture Lab, Esperanza. If people have any other ideas about that, please, Susan is the person to contact about that. All right, let me see what else. So this is a big deal. And it was really nice that it got announced at Love Your Park. It's been, you know, this funding was awarded a year ago. It's been a very, you know, this is one of the things where you just, your hair gets gray while you're doing this all. So it was awarded a year ago where, you know, we just went through the official process of selecting the consultant, then there's a contract, but it is, we are, you know, seeing the light of day and it is moving ahead. And they'll focus on all different, you know, one of the things they're really concerned about is what people want to see in the park, you know, what kind of things people want to see in the park in terms of furniture, in terms of programs. And they're also taking a look at a lot of, you know, what we can do with what's a really linear park. You know, I went to FDR Park a few weeks ago, and FDR Park is 300 acres too, but it's a square. And we don't have a square. We have this long thing, and trying to figure out how to make places that people can hang out and enjoy. And we don't have a lot of those now. So they have a lot of really creative ideas, and they know a lot about the ecology and the landscape, which will be really helpful. The next thing is just to let you know, we haven't had, you know, we're part of this thing called the Alliance for Watershed Education, and that provides us with funding for some special programs. It also enables us to have a fellow, and we didn't have a fellow last year because of the pandemic. We didn't know what we would do with someone who couldn't go out and talk to people, because that's the idea of the position. I'm trying to think of who, the most recent fellow we had was somebody named Nayeli Perez. I don't know if anybody remembers her. She was great. We always try to make sure that we have someone from the neighborhood who's familiar with the park. So we hired somebody named Mike, I'm so afraid I'm not saying her name right, Micaiah Vessels. And she lives near the park. I think she lives in Longcrest. And she has worked, I think everyone's gonna love her. She has worked, she worked as an ambassador for, I guess Rebuild hired community ambassadors for some work in Longcrest with the free library and the rec center. So she's gone out and talked to people. She also worked at Grumblethorpe, which I've never been to, but I love saying it. It's one of those historic houses in Germantown.
Sound like something off of Harry Potter.
Yes, it always, Grumblethorpe. And it's one of those beautiful historic houses in Germantown that has, and she worked there in the garden. So they actually have a vegetable garden there. I think that she's going to be terrific. She has really great skills. She's very enthusiastic. So she starts on June 7th. And she will be out, you know, she'll be at block parties. She'll be with us through the end of August. So there's that, and then story trails. So this is a program. Who worked on this?
Dorian.
I know Dorian. Did Siani, did you work on this with Dorian? I'm trying to remember.
A little. I've been in a meeting.
I don't remember because this seemed like it happened such a long time ago. So this is funding, I think, from the Fairmount Park Conservancy too, to work with libraries or to work with other partners. I think that we came up with this idea, not me personally, but everybody. And it's this wonderful idea. I don't know if you guys have seen any of these. I've started to see them in other places where, you know, we've really been trying to connect reading to nature. And this is, we'll have 3 books, and the books will be put on lawn signs. So people will walk along with their whoever, with their kids or with somebody else, and they'll read the books as they walk along. I can't remember if all the books are in English and Spanish. I know one of them definitely is.
I believe it's gonna be front side English, the back side's gonna be Spanish.
Right. And then there's one book that is bilingual. The librarians helped us pick out the books. They're really beautiful books. And then you walk through and then you can go to the library and get a copy of the book. So I think we have about 40 copies of each book. So 40 families will either go to, I'm trying to remember, I think it's Frankfurt and Olney.
Yeah, Frankfurt.
So those two libraries will have this book collection and families will be able to go and get the books. You know, and the idea is we're helping, and we know how important it is to get books into homes for kids. So this is really cool. I can't remember. I will find out for you what the 3 books are. Do you remember, Alex?
I don't remember, but I can go get it physically. But if you don't want me to get it physically,
Oh, would you do that?
yeah, I can take a look.
Because he's at the office and I'm at home. But we did get the books and we were very excited. So it'll be 3 different books. One thing will go up and then we'll take it down after a week. The next one will go up. So they'll start sort of at different gateways. And the first one we will kick off at the first block party. So June 15th until July 5th at different locations. And the libraries are amazing at getting the word out about stuff, but we will get the word out too. And I hope that this turns into more nature literacy programs. So I think that's important. And if anyone wants to help Dorienne with this project, you know, she's going to have to do a lot of laminating and stuff in the office, but if anybody wants to go out with her, I think she's going to, on Mondays, she'll go out and take the old signs and put out the new signs. So if anybody wants, I thought this sounded like a lot of fun to be able to do this.
The kids and I would be interested in that. That would be
Yeah. No, maybe she can do that with your family. That would be really cool. I saw this, I'm trying to think of, I think the Lower Merion Conservancy did this on one of their trails. I think the library up at Cotman has done this. It's pretty interesting.
It's fun. I like it.
Alex, do you have the books?
Yeah, there's the first one called I Know the River Loves Me. Yo sé que el río te amo. The other book is called Talking with Mother Earth. And the third one is called Call Me True.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this. I think this is great. We had some money like a couple of summers ago, and we bought a bunch of nature books that we would love to bring out to programs when we can all like start touching things. Because they're, you know, I don't know, we all love books. All right, yoga. Jenna is our yoga teacher. Jenna, do you want to talk about yoga and convince all these people to come join you?
Yes, absolutely. So I will be teaching, as I mentioned before, yoga, hatha yoga, as we call it, nature yoga, once a week, every Saturday. We've been playing around with the time a little bit. We experimented 10 o'clock, but I think we're deciding towards 11 o'clock because I think 10 o'clock sounded a little intimidating and a little early. But if you have any other suggestion, please let me know or Susan. But I don't know if people will be more comfortable later in the afternoon. That's something we need to figure out. But for now, it'll be every Saturdays at the Tabor Road and Olney Gateway Avenue by the Yellow Gate. So that's where we'll be. and we've been. So that will be that. And also I'll be teaching yoga on Tuesdays, on Tuesday and Thursday for the block party as well, 4 to 7, I believe, if anybody want to join me and hang out.
Yes. So I'm excited about that. And I would love it if you could find somebody who could teach on Wednesday, that Wednesday.
That Wednesday? Yeah, I could actually, I know a few teachers I can ask around and see.
Yeah, I mean, I love to, it's fun to have the same stuff at every block party.
Yeah, are you thinking 4 to 7? For that one?
Dorian and I talked about this today. I think we were gonna do like 4:15 to 5 and then 5:15 to 6 or something. We were gonna
Okay.
make sure that you had a break
Mhm.
in between classes. That seemed like a good idea. So
Yeah.
I need to go look at what we said, but I think we were gonna make it not, we're gonna do 2 during that time, but not make it squished together. So you would have a little time, and that if people wanted to talk to you about it.
Actually, Wednesday, I might be able to teach as well.
Okay,
It's
so
4 p.m. to like 7 p.m., but I have like breaks in between, right?
yes, you need to
Yeah.
have.
Yeah. So I
I'll let
think
you
I'll
get
be
off that yoga mat.
Yes.
And block parties are June 15th, 16th, and 17th. And we'll send something out, our TCP newsletter that goes out at the beginning of June. And then we'll probably send it out again. And we are going to do lawn signs to advertise the block parties, because that's what we do. And there we're going to do, first one will be at Iron Ramona, the second will be at we're moving north. The second one will be at Whitaker, and the third one will be at Tabor and Alney. And we've been working on this like right today and last week. So we will have, I can't even remember who's coming. But we will have, the Bike Coalition is going to come. If anybody knows of a source of bikes, we did a bike ride last time. I remember, Pam, you rode.
Yes, yes. It was, I had a lot of fun too.
It was a lot of fun. So I don't know, I don't remember where we got those bikes. We own 4 bikes. If anybody has a source of some other bikes, I think it would be nice to have like 10 bikes, and then the Bike Coalition people will take people out on a few bike rides, which will be really nice. What else are we having? Esperanza will be coming with health information. The Camden Aquarium will come for one night. They come with, they bring horseshoe crabs and stuff when they come. The circuit will be coming. They always bring a lot of swag with them. Alex, I can't think of anybody else. Can you?
We're gonna have the mobile. Probably gonna have it out. We're gonna have natural lands there. Riverfront North. They work on kind of like their own trail. They work on a 11-mile trail themselves. We're gonna have recycling bins. Yeah, we're trying to focus it on more so activities.
Right. So there'll be bird walks
Mhm.
each time. And I don't know if any of you have done that, our virtual tours that are story maps and video. They're on our website. So 2 of them take place in Tacony Creek Park. So Ryan, we will be putting together a way for people to do those tours while they come to the block party. So that will be kind of fun, because those show, you look for trees, you look for, we can't guarantee that birds are going to be there at exactly this time, but there are trees and plants that people can look out for. And if you guys have any ideas, yes, the libraries are coming. So Alney and Frankfurt Library are coming. And if you guys have additional organizations, what we're trying to do this time because of the pandemic is make sure that this is, you know, it used to be, these were like closer together and more tabling. And what we're trying to do is spread things out more and have it so that people can do activities and not just be on top of each other. we're trying to get the guys who painted the birds, the bird murals to come. They came to a Love Your Park or something once, and they did some really nice art activities with kids. So we're hoping we can get them to come back. So I think we're almost through what we wanted to talk about. Does anybody have, the Rafes could do chalk murals, exactly. I would love that. Like in Mary Poppins. So that would be good. So let us know about other ideas. Again, we're trying to make it more active stuff and not just people handing people materials. And we do want to make sure that, so it'll be great because Jenna will be there doing yoga and talking to people. And I know we want to have Tom and Bethany and who else? And Betty, if Betty can come, and then Jessica to come and talk to people about the running and walking groups. You know, we can set up a table and maybe we can come up with some swag or something that we can give out to people to encourage them to join your groups. Bethany can walk in place at the at the block party. Okay, we have 2 more things and then open it up. I love it that everybody is trying to stay in touch, and I feel like, we have a Tacony Creek Park community. I would like to, we can follow up from this, but what I'd like to do is be able to create a directory so you guys can have each other's emails and phone numbers, if you are willing to do that. Because then, if somebody's taking a walk on the trail, and they know that Johanna would like to walk with someone else, you could text each other and just be able to stay in touch. I think that would be really nice. We don't want to feel like we're the keepers of your information. And in order for somebody to talk to somebody else, we have to hand out that information. So we'll follow up with an email. We have to be careful about sharing personal information, but we do love it that we want people to be talking to each other without us having anything to do with that. You guys are are the Tacony Creek Park community, and we want people to stay in touch. And, if somebody, obviously if there's something weird or bad that happens, we want you to contact us, but if something great is happening and, you want to put out an eagle alert or something, then you'll be able to do it. And the final thing is, you had somebody came to talk about the tree plan at the last meeting. No. Yes? Does anybody remember? At the last meeting, Alex, did someone talk about the tree plan?
I was not here the last.
I know you weren't here yet.
Pretty sure there was. I think it was the last meeting. Everything feels so long ago, but I know with like the 10-year plan survey. So I do recall I don't know if it was the last meeting or the meeting before that, but someone was there to talk about that.
So they're doing presentations about the citywide new tree plan all over the city. And we think it's really important for our neighborhoods to have input because trees are really important. So after that meeting, we asked them if they would do an online presentation about the tree plan for Tacony Creek Park folks. So that's going to happen on June 7th. And I think it's on the agenda. Alex, if you want to pull that up again. So we'll send something out, but on June 7th from 5 to 6:30, the people from PPR who are working on this plan will do a presentation about the plan and how they're trying to get information and where they're thinking of, how people can have input about where they want to see trees. And they also want people to fill out their survey. The link is right there. We also asked them if they could do this presentation, they could do it bilingually. So they'll do it they'll have a translator, so they'll do it in English and Spanish. And we know they haven't gotten a lot of input from Tacony Creek Park neighborhoods, and we would like that. We want people to be able to tell them what they want to see. So this is one way of helping do that. We do love trees. Alex and I talked to Aileen yesterday. She's our contact, at Parks and Recreation. And it was really nice because she was out. So Johanna, we don't need to worry. She was out checking on the trees, which is really wonderful. It's been those little trees that got planted by Love Your Park. They're little and it's been dry. So she goes out and waters, and Alex is going to help her with that so that we make sure that those trees do okay. She has a pickup truck with a water tank in the back of it. We do not have that. But she said that sometimes she has set up bucket brigades, and you just take water out of the creek and use those to water the trees. That's fine. The one other thing is just, we need help at block parties. So we'll be asking for, that'll be a follow-up, we'll have a TTF, Tacony Creek Park Keepers table. So we would love people from the keepers and not us to be there, talking to people. We would love to be there too, but we want you guys to be there telling people about the work that you're doing and about programs and all those things. And then, things like doing, we're gonna set up our famous button maker. I don't know if anybody remembers our famous button maker, the best investment we ever made. So kids can make their own buttons. It's like the best thing ever. So we'll need somebody to take care of that with kids. There it is. There's a button.
This is mine when I was a trail ambassador.
That's a vintage button.
Vintage.
That's like the first thing I remember about Tacony Creek, I think, is going to some event and my kids making those when they were
So
tiny.
funny. So it was a great purchase. And I remember I said to somebody, what do these things cost? How much could this possibly cost? And then, we've had it forever, and it's like the greatest, it's the greatest thing because it's really fun to make buttons. So, so I think that's it. So if other people have block party ideas, please send them to us. I can't think of anything else for this group. I think you're amazing. I think we're good. Anything
Judy, can I share something before we end the meeting?
Oh, please do.
I thought of this while we were talking about the different things in the bird walks. Last summer, in my backyard, a groundhog came and made a home in my backyard. He dug a burrow, and he would come out early in the morning. And so I was so excited to see that he chose my backyard to come and make a home. And so I would come out and I would put carrots out. Really hot days, I would put water out for him, but I kept looking to see when he would come out. He always came out early in the morning and sometime during the evening. So I did get to take pictures of him. And I just felt so honored that this groundhog was in my backyard. So it was very exciting to see him coming in and out and getting used to me, being out there, because he wouldn't run. He got used to me being there. And then, so that went on for weeks. But then he started to want to build a second burrow. So I had to put something there to block that from happening, because it was enough with just the one burrow. But shortly after that, he left. I guess because they love being, you know, the girls, and I blocked it so he couldn't do a second one. So shortly after that, he left, but I missed him when he left, but I was just so excited that I could be around this groundhog living in my backyard. I just wanted to share that.
I don't know why he left, because he was the luckiest groundhog I've ever heard of.
Getting fed for free.
Well, whenever I can, I'll show you the pictures of them.
That's great.
Awesome.
They're pretty cute.
I had one quick question. Since I am pretty new, I kind of signed up online and everything, but where can I find more information about all the things that we do, like the weekly cleanups I heard were on Wednesday?
Yes, I'm the one that's doing the weekly cleanups. So I'll put my information in the chat. If you go write that down or reach out to me, I could definitely send you more information about the weekly cleanups we're doing.
Okay.
At the on the TTF water, so this gives me a headache, but we have the TTF has a new website, and we have a new calendar. So you can always look at our calendar. All the walks are in the calendar, the creek care days, yoga. I mean, we need to keep up with it. Sometimes get a little behind, but that's the best place to go to see what's happening. The walks and runs are on there. And we are in the process of upgrading the Keepers website. That website was made like 4 years ago. We haven't made any changes to it. A lot of things have changed, and we need, like for the master plan, we need a place for information to live about the master plan. So we're going to be doing an upgrade on the Keepers website. And what will happen is the events page at the TTF website will just be replicated on the Keepers.
Okay.
That was probably too long an answer. We also are on all social media. So, there's a Facebook page for the group, right? We would love people to push that out. And TTF is on Instagram and on Twitter. And that's generally sort of where we post stuff. When we post about the park, we try to put Tacony, hashtag Tacony Creek Park, so people can find things.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. It was so nice to meet you. Okay, I think everybody should go have dinner. Right? So please stay in touch. Oh, Siani, will you stay on for 2 minutes?
Yeah, that's fine. I have something to tell you anyway, so it's okay.
But everyone have a good night, and we'll see you. Maybe some of you will see Tom on Saturday or Bethany on Monday, or I think we're back out this summer. We're gonna get to see each other, which is really nice.
Okay, sounds great.
And to new people, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank
Everyone
you.
have a blessed evening.
Glad you're feeling better, Julie.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great
Good
night.
Everybody.
Bye.
night.
Bethany, is the walk happening on Memorial Day?
Yes, Betty and I will be there, so hopefully some other people will show up. I figure it's early enough, and so people have plans later in the day, might as well start off your barbecue with the walk. So come on out. I think it'll be nice and cool, it looks like. So
Yeah, but
Monday's
to join.
at least over the weekend.
Monday's supposed to be nice. Join and bring a friend.
That's right. Come on out.
Bring somebody
right.
else out.
Glad to have you.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, everyone, take care. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
So Siani, the